It's live. Pickup soccer is live. Everybody, it's back. It's on. It's happening. It's Hank. It's Seth, and it's Abram. It's the original. It's the triumvirate. Seth. Abram looks like he's actually alive. He looked like he was frozen, like a deer in the headlights.
I'm in and out. I'm in the new house. I don't know if I've been in the new house since we started doing this again. I don't remember the last time we did this. So I don't remember if I'm new in the house, but I'm feels like miles and miles away from the modem in my house where the computer is set up.
It sounds like
random times I'll just cut out.
So, Abram, we need to ask, are you now censoring yourself now that you've had the little chat from the administration of your school?
Wasn't an administrator, it was a student.
Oh, really?
That's even better. We're just randomly sitting in class. We're randomly sitting in class, and one kid goes, "Mr. Chamberlain, yeah, what's the pickup soccer?"
No. What was your immediate reaction to that?
My immediate reaction was, "Uh-oh." But no, I was like, it's a show I do with a couple of guys. I'm a pretty big deal. And they were like,
yeah, it's on ESPN, right?
Yeah, it will be on ESPN.
No, it won't.
We're taking over.
Yeah, I meant to mention that earlier. Sorry, let me get my quick shout out now to the 0 people who are listening. I meant to do. Evan and I recorded First 11 today. I meant to give the ESPN shout out to Stuart Scott, since it's his show. The First 11 completely and utterly ripped off, and I think it's he was a guy who sort of at least attempted to embrace soccer. He wasn't a soccer guy. But he also wasn't, one of these guys who would always be out there talking down about it and how can anyone like this. He was always very welcoming to it. He talked about MLS on PTI. He was, and obviously, I only know him through watching him on television, but he seemed like a good guy, and it's a very sad thing that happened. And I meant to shout him out on First 11 since that's where we stole the entire idea from. Did he start
PTI?
He was on PTI. It was him and what's his nuts for a while. I don't know if he started it, but I know he guest hosted it a lot.
Okay.
Actually, he hosted it a lot. What the hell are you talking about?
You're talking about Michael Wilbon?
No. Well, I am talking about Michael Wilbon, but Stuart Scott used to do a lot of the...
this is an awkward conversation.
Scott,
Give me the other black guy.
No, because Stuart Scott... Well, hold on, let me find it, because I got to look out to make sure. Stuart Scott did Sports Center, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he did Sports Center. What did I say? I said PTI, didn't I?
I know that.
I'm mixing my shows all up. I don't really watch it. Sorry, but
it's okay.
Point still stands.
Point still stands. The guy, I give him full credit. He wasn't a soccer guy. He didn't do anything, and I didn't actually particularly think he was really all that good. I mean, he was good. He wasn't by far the best announcer I've ever seen, but he gave it his all. He dedicated his life to it, and he's doing it. He did it for money. He did it. He made a career out of it. 20-something years. That's impressive. And I haven't done anything that long, ever.
When did he start ESPN?
Well, he started in ESPN in 1993, apparently.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was trying to remember.
21 years. The guy was a legend. He came up with one of the most overused cliches. Booyah, I think was his, and cool as the other side of the pillow. I mean, those things, I remember him for coming up with those, and credit to him, he was a legend, and he made a career out of it, man. I think that's it's worthy of praise, and somebody dedicates that much time, plus fighting cancer, which sucks. Everybody knows, fuck cancer, we hate it. 49 years old, still too young to go.
Yeah.
There you go. But yeah. He was good there. He definitely brought a lot. Yeah. Him commentating hockey, probably not the best thing. But anyway, we digress. Let's talk about some soccer. So we were talking before we started. We were talking about Uruguay and the U23 team or the U20 team. And what's the issue with Diego Fagundez getting his U.S. citizenship, and Gideon Zelalem gets his like overnight. What's up with that? How did that work?
Gideon Zelalem's family were. His father was a citizen, and Diego Fagundes' parents were not until much later in the process. That's,
Got it.
It's
sort
still
of how it works out.
It's still amazing, and I don't know. There's no answer to this, but it's still amazing to me that the kid's been here since 5 years old, and he only got his green card in 2013. So it's just crazy to me that he had not already started the whole process. I don't think it's that big of a loss overall. Although I do think Klinsmann should be fired over it. But it's just weird to me that Diego Fagundes took so long to get into. The thing is too, like he's been called in for a while now to Uruguay, and he missed some tournaments. Like I've talked to him about that. I asked him like, do you feel like you're missing out on some of these like tournaments and stuff like that? And he like quickly said, he's like, yes, and like moved on really quickly. But I'm dedicated to the revolution. So it's just weird to me that he took so long to finally kind of commit to Uruguay. So I think he did have some U.S. ambitions, but it just takes too long in the process. He should have started it much earlier.
Yeah, but when you're a 14-year-old kid, he started at 14 and with the revolution, right, or at least in MLS. So you're not thinking that far ahead. And maybe if he had started the process at that point, we'd be talking him as a U.S. men's international player now. But he's playing for the U20s in Uruguay, and I don't know if he ever gets any higher than that. What I'd be more interested in is what this says about him internationally, because before he was one of the big things that I was hearing about him was he stayed with the Revolution in order to get the citizenship, so that he could play for the national team. Now,
I never heard that.
See, and again, I'm going to say I could very well be making that up, but I remember hearing that part of the reason he stayed with the Revolution was to get the U.S. citizenship, and part of the impetus for that was to get to have an opportunity to play for the national team. So if we're at this situation now where he's committed to Uruguay, does he still feel the need to play for the Revolution, or does he start looking overseas? Because from rumors on Twitter, whatever it's called.
The Twitters.
From rumors on Twitter, there is still interest in him overseas, especially if we're looking at him in Italy. So is that someone, does this change his dedication to the Revolution? Is he less inclined to stay and more inclined to head overseas to join his buddy AJ? Probably not at the same team, but you get the point.
Well, okay, let me throw this out to you, because Frank Talapa had a great article on ESPN FC that kind of broke down the whole situation really well. And he says in there, he reveals that Diego Fagundes has 2 years left on his contract. So this upcoming year and 1 more year on his contract. So if he goes down there and he does well in the whatever it is, South American Youth Cup, I guess called, he like bangs in a couple goals. Considering he wasn't a starter, he didn't even come off the bench in the MLS Cup. Do you consider selling him? If someone big time comes along and wants to buy Diego Fagundes before the season begins, do you consider to do that?
It would depend on how much they offered, because even without him playing, he is the face of this team to a lot of people. That is, outside of Jermaine Jones, that is probably your most marketable player. I mean, more so than Lee Nguyen, more so than anyone along the back line, more so than Scott Caldwell, more so than really anyone is Diego Fagundes. He steps onto the pitch at Gillette, and you hear the screams from the throngs of people. I was going to say the throngs of teenage girls, and that is mostly what it is. But that's the face of the franchise. Maybe not more than Jermaine Jones, but he's a big part of the team. So you have to think of what you're losing if you sell him, even if he's not playing.
No, I agree with that, but I think it's also how much can you be the face of the franchise if you aren't the starter? And granted, he can be, but if we're 10 games in the season, he's still not even coming off the bench. That celebrity status goes down quite a bit, and Lee Nguyen would step into that. Even Charlie Davies has the potential if he becomes the goal-scoring guy he was in the playoffs. He might even be more of the face of a franchise eventually than Diego Fagundes on the bench.
Here's my question. With that new contract, all right, 2 things. With that contract that he signed, do the Revolution still retain that 75% of anything that they sell to get him? Because he's homegrown, he's a homegrown product. do they still get 75% of any sale, or does that change since he signed that new contract? Either you know that.
I don't know, because technically he's not on the books as a protected homegrown. I mean he is still homegrown, but he's not under a homegrown contract anymore.
Yeah, and then
So I don't know if that applies to him.
Yeah, and following down that same line, if they had planned, and this could go either way. Why? I understand that they left him unprotected in the expansion draft, but then they, paid money to make it so that they wouldn't pick him. If they're going to sell him, I don't know. I could go either way, which is we want to get the money for him when he's sold, or this could be, well, we have definite plans to use him in the future. And from what I've read online and seen, is he is still very much within the plans in New England, and I just don't know. I don't know.
I think he's going to come back. I think based on what he's doing in South America right now, I think he's proving that he's still got a lot to offer and that he's going to get his fair shot here. He's got to win a spot away from Kellen Rowe. He's got to win a spot away from Daigo Kobayashi. He's got to win a spot away from whoever, the first guy off the bench, right? He's got to win that spot. And unless Lee Nguyen goes elsewhere, he's coming in off the bench, in my opinion.
So what would be a fair? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you started talking about Teal Bunbury, so I thought you might have said.
Yeah, I think Teal is going to go. I think Teal, if Teal comes back, he's another guy that remains. I think it's pretty much a done deal that he's coming back, but. We haven't heard what the status is on AJ. We haven't heard what the status is on Teal Bunbury, and that ambiguity makes it hard for us to kind of play this thing. But even if Teal doesn't come back, Diego's best position isn't right wing. Get him back out on the field, that's one thing, but Diego's going to cut inside. He's always going to cut inside and play from a more central position. Look at where he scored his goals in 2013. It was right off of the shoulder, for the most part, of Juan Agudelo. And he was always in the middle, always cutting into the middle or in the middle to begin with, and running through the defenders and making those incisive cuts. He's not a winger. He won't be a winger. He doesn't excel in that position. So I struggle to see where he's going to fit in on this field unless they get a big target forward up there and he plays off of that target forward like he did off of Juan Agudelo, or he wins that first spot up, first man off the bench. And Seth was right next to me at in LA at the MLS final when they brought on Andy Dorman. I was screaming nutso because I thought they should have brought on Diego Fagundes at that point because they needed more attacking power. Now Andy Dorman did great, but I wanted Diego Fagundes in that game so badly because I really felt that they needed more offense on the field at that time. And but he right now the coach doesn't have that confidence in him, and I think that's the big challenge for Diego coming into the next season.
So do you sell him, Hank?
If you get a good offer, why not? He's not doing anything for you on the bench.
What's a good offer?
I think a good offer for Diego's a 20-year-old prospect. I think $1 million or $2.
Plus they take Jerry.
Plus what you said?
They have to take
Jerry. Yeah.
Oh man,
that's crazy.
Yeah. See, I wrote a number. I wrote a number down for and I'm probably absolutely in my number.
3.2.
Was pretty close, but I'm over estimating. I don't know if you can read that.
I can't see it.
4 mil.
4 mil.
Assuming mil stands for million, and that S with like weird slashes, a dollar sign.
That is. I would 3.2. I could agree with that, but I think less than 3 mil for what he means to the team as far as development, for what he means to the team as far as marketing, and I think even if if Diego Fagundes plays no minutes, and he gets obviously he'd get no goals if he played no minutes, and Charlie Davies bangs in 10 goals in the first 10 games. I still think Diego Fagundez is more of a face of the team than Charlie Davies.
What if Davies is stanky legging while getting those goals? Like he's just like standing there, this ball bounces off his stanky leg and goes in.
Unless he's doing it in his own stadium, then it doesn't matter.
No, probably not going to happen. I agree with you. I wouldn't sell Fagundez. It would have to be a really big offer. I agree with you. And I think he's 19 years old, and he came off. His season, it was disappointing, but his stats really weren't that bad over the course of a season. So I don't know. He'll probably.
What did he have? He had like what five goals as a midfielder. Is that what he had?
Yeah, 5 goals, and I think he had like 7 assists or something like that.
I didn't realize assists.
Or maybe less than 7. I don't know.
Yeah, so he didn't have a terrible season, but he didn't play. He just didn't play.
Yeah. 0 and infinity.
I just don't think he had a good enough. Not good enough to get out there, but when Lee Win is playing the way he did, it's just what are you going to do, right? It's just
And I think that's part of it. Lee Win was so good doing what Diego Fagundez does. That what are you going to do?
It's a good problem to have. Good problem to have.
Yeah. Unless you're Diego Fagundez.
Hey, you guys hear about Frank Lampard?
Who?
Do you guys know about him?
Who is he? What was he?
He's just he's gonna be the savior of NYCFC.
Of who now?
Oh, the other team besides Orlando.
Oh, are we talking about
Oh, sorry, it was 4 assists. I was way off. 4 assists for Diego Fagundez.
Gonna be the savior of NYCFC. Is that a thing?
I don't know anymore. I don't even get what's going on with NYCFC.
But let me tell you, Evan and I did a bunch of segments on Lampard and NYCFC on First 11. And I'll pose a similar question to you guys that we posed on the show, which is the idea of how much better is Orlando than New York at everything?
Well, it just comes down to how you build your team. Like, Orlando built it correctly. They were in USL Pro beforehand. They were slowly they were signing players before they were going to officially be in MLS. Like they knew ahead of time all these things, and then they signed Aurelian Collin, Akugo. They did all this dirty work, and then when it came time to the drafts, they didn't do that well in the drafts, but it's because they already laid down all the groundwork in all these different ways. So NYCFC it's just so forced. I almost wish they could just say, you know what, let's give NYCFC another year off to keep trying, and let's just have Sacramento come in. Because I almost feel like Sacramento could do a better job within the next 3 months. NYC just seems like such a disaster. Yankee Stadium, their DP's not coming. He might never come. It's just so ridiculous.
I hope he never comes. I really hope he never comes. Because it looks bad for everyone. It's just bad. I don't want Steven Gerrard either, but whatever.
It's bad news.
I think there's going to be some good tifo, at least, out of this Frank Lampard.
And, I wish we recorded First 11 earlier in the week.
I think, for the whole Lampard thing, I mean, the thing that gets me, all right, so Grant Wall comes out a couple days ago, and he's now come out and said that, that the contract was never with NYCFC. It was always an MCFC contract, and it wasn't a loan. Well, I'm sorry. That is in direct contradiction as to what what MLS has said, what NYCFC has said, and what MCFC has said itself. So they're taking the word of one unidentified source over 3 other sources that have been out there in the press, and it's creating a whole. Grant Wall generally doesn't go live with stuff unless he can validate it. But at the same time, I don't know how much to believe. I don't know, what's the story. There could be somebody at MCFC who's just saying, oh yeah, they're going to do whatever we say because the contract's with the family that owns both the teams, and they're going to decide where he's going to go. I think it comes down to a thing of semantics at a really high level, but it's just bad. It's just the whole PR situation is bad.
the whole thing, and this is kind of a general MLS problem, is like it feels like a '90s sitcom sometimes, where they forget their own storyline. Like, you know, like when we watch like a '90s sitcom and there's like 30 minutes, like Saved by the Bell, and like the next day the characters were totally different and it didn't make any sense, and they totally forgot they hated each other. It just feels like Don Garber makes up a lie, makes up a story, and the next week he's like, well, now this is true, and it's infuriating to watch and try to, like, you know, place your thumb on.
Well, I can't even talk about it. I don't even know where to go with You are allowed. I've said this before. You're allowed to make mistakes in signing players, but make sure the player is actually signed. I mean, you want to go out and splash money on a 36-year-old, 37-year-old, 40-year-old designated player. Go ahead. I don't care. It's your money to waste on whoever you want. But if you're going to build your, this is where I think most people are upset. Is they built their marketing around Frank Lampard and David Villa. And really, when I think back about it more, it's really more they did build it more around David Villa than they did around Frank Lampard, but Frank Lampard was definitely a big part of it. And then he might not be coming until at least August. Why not just hold that and do the whole, we got a big signing coming in August. We got a big signing coming in August. Wait till you see that big sign that we have in August, and then August he comes, and you're like, oh, holy crap, they have Frank Lampard. So it screams to me, what it's been screaming to me all along, is this is a way to duck financial fair play for Manchester City. And I've said that before. I'll say it again. I'll say it until, you know, FIFA gets me on the phone and says, hey, what do you think about this, Abram? But until that happens, it's what it smells like, it's what it looks like, and what it seems to be, and that's why they're buying teams throughout the world.
Yeah, that's not a bad theory. I like that idea. I agree with you. It's such a PR disaster.
Well, can you just explain it a little bit more, Abram, for people that maybe aren't as quick on the uptake on this whole financial fair play thing, like myself? How is this an invasion of financial fair play?
Because if he's actually on the book for Manchester City, then that salary goes on the book, and they have to match that with the income that they get from ticket sales, et cetera, to make sure that the signings are matching up with, to make sure that the income coming in is not at huge discrepancy to the money being paid out, so that they don't pay everyone $7 billion. But if he's on the books at NYCFC, then he doesn't count towards Manchester City's financial fair play, or whatever the coefficient is called. It's the same reason why, you know, they have a team in Japan, they have the team in Australia. I'm sure eventually they'll get a team in the Middle East. But I think everyone is relatively clear that where the money lies is with Manchester City. That's the most important target. So let's say tomorrow they go out and they sign Drogba to the Australian team, and then they sign, I don't know, Cristiano Ronaldo to the Japanese team, and they sign 4 or 5 other, you know, big stars. They get Schneider and NYCFC, and then they take them all on loan at the same time. Then that doesn't count against Manchester City for financial fair play, because they're on loan and the contracts aren't technically owned by them, which is weird now that they're saying that Frank Lampard's contract is owned by Manchester City. But furthermore, you know, this whole idea
screws the whole thing up.
The thing with Grant Wall, where you were talking about one thing, I'm not sure that they didn't mean City Footballing Group, who owns all of the teams, owns the contract, so they can just do whatever the hell they want with it. I don't know.
I'm just throwing that out there. I wasn't part of that conversation. I don't know what Grant Wall, who he talked to, or what the source was. But you know, he's saying that the contract wasn't with MCFC. Well, did he mean MCFC, the parent organization that owns all of them? Maybe he meant, you know, Melbourne City FC. I mean, I don't know where his contract is. I mean, acronyms don't help. They just kind of screw everything up.
So is there anything you guys think that NYCFC can do besides, you know, building a stadium in the next, you know, month that could possibly save face? I just feel like their fans are just absolutely depressed right now.
You know, I don't know if
fans.
Apparently they have like 8,000 season ticket holders.
Jeez, I'll let you go, Hank, before I go off on my rant about that.
Well, so yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what it is. I know there was one guy out on Twitter today. He was saying that he'd be happy to come on. He's saying it's not all bleak for NYCFC, and another guy backed him up on that, saying that they're going to be fine in the end. I agree. I think they're going to be totally fine in the end. When is David Villa coming?
He'll be there at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I
doubt they're going to keep him in.
Yeah, my theory is that they're going to work out something with Frank, so that he joins the team this summer, and it's going to be a bit David Beckham-esque for a little bit. He'll go back from time to time, but yeah, we'll see where Manchester City ends up at the end of the season. If Frank Lampard gets injured in the next 3 months, he's here. Done deal, right? He'll come back and he'll do his rehab here, etc. I don't know, but we'll have to see.
I think they should sign Raul.
Yeah, obviously, or get him on loan from the Cosmos.
Yo, there we go.
Perfect. So I can't find this guy's name now because there's something going on with my Twitter.
It was Mitchell.
Mitchell Kahali.
Yeah, Mitchell. He's one of the Armada guys with me down in. He's out of Mobile. The good guy.
Yeah, and then a Googly Boogly is Googly Boogly is the other guy who was saying NYCFC will be fine. So both those guys are NYCFC fans. They think it's going to be okay. I'm inclined to agree, and they've got a ton of money behind them. They're playing at Yankee Stadium. It's the next big thing. It's right in downtown, right? Well, Bronx, and it's not downtown, but it's close enough. These guys they'll be fine.
Whatever. I don't want to talk about NY. I don't like talking about imaginary teams.
Let's talk about Orlando. Orlando is
a real team? You mean
real team.
You mean a team that existed before whatever.
A team that was stolen from Texas, brought to Florida,
I would rather
and corrupted into MLS fiefdom.
Whatever. A team that was owned and real and actually existed and whatever. It's whatever. I don't care.
They wear purple. I don't know.
That's kind of badass.
They're Donnie
That's kind of badass. I might. What?
Never mind. Nobody out there understands that reference. Big purple fan, Donny Osmond. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. What are we talking about?
Well, we were talking about MLS and their expansion. It's been a while since
it's been a while since
we haven't talked about LAFC on this show.
Who?
Oh,
yeah.
Man. Do you think they'll... No. See, this actually might be really good because LAFC is watching how terribly this whole thing's going, and they're going to learn from the mistakes, and maybe they'll actually be like a really good expansion franchise when it happens.
Yeah, but NYCFC should have been... I don't know. They should have seen what Chivas USA did and gone, they messed that up royally. We better...
But I feel like everything with NYCFC was just so rushed. Like, there's just no stadium plan. They're going to play in Yankee Stadium. It looks terrible for soccer. It just...
Why not?
Are we going? We're going, right?
Oh,
Who's going to Yankee Stadium first?
Probably not. It's Sunday. It's a Sunday.
Why not? Oh, you have to work, you teachers. That's right.
Work.
Why not? Why not?
Push it
off for a year. Yeah, no kidding. That is true.
They're going to get a stadium built in a year? I mean, is that going to do them any better? No. I don't know.
They could try again, though. Try to find someone better. Don Garber should just come out and say, guys, try again. That's what us teachers do. If someone brings us a poor product, we don't say, all right, let's put it on the field, let's put it on the board. We say, no, go back and do it again. So Don Garber should come out tomorrow and say, Benny Bellucci, you do not have a team next year. Try again.
Benny Bellucci. Patrick Mullins, go back to New England.
Every single
Tony Taylor, back to traffic.
There you go.
Oh, boo.
Go hang out, what's his name? Gabe Bustamante, who's down in, he's with the Strikers now, right? With Tom.
Yeah, he's somewhere in NASL.
He's with the Rowdies.
The Rowdies with Thomas Roggen.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be huge. That's the next big thing. Gabriel Bustamante, the boss.
Yeah,
I like him.
Still like him.
He's gonna play for the US World Cup.
You know, all that talk about Ibarra when he got called up, everyone just forgot about poor old Gale, who got called up when he was playing for the Railhawks.
That's right.
Oh, I guess technically he was in traffic. I know he was on loan to the Railhawks, but whatever.
But he'll be there. He'll be there in the Gold Cup.
Absolutely. Right? Him and Gideon
Zavala. Gideon. Second coming.
Gideon. Our new savior.
Gideon.
He's totally
so that Julian Green savior thing isn't working out?
No, Julian Green not so much. It's not all about Gideon. It's all about Gideon.
We have a 2018 roster built around potential.
Exactly.
Ooh, I like
all you know is Freddie Adu Freddie Adu will be the water boy.
Is he playing or is he not playing anymore? I have no idea.
His contract ended.
Yeah, and he got all angry because he's like, guys, I did not get cut.
He got released. He's like, I didn't get released. I knew the contract was expiring. We did not extend it. He's like hanging out in clubs now with his pals.
Whatever. He needs to sign with the Cosmos.
He totally needs to sign with the Cosmos. Totally needs to sign with us.
Really needs to sign with Minnesota United so that when they lose Ibarra, they have a nice secondary backup plan.
Is anyone going to sign Ibarra?
They can't. He's under contract. New York, sorry, not New York. Red Bull put a discovery claim on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Discovery claims. Hilarious.
Yeah. CBA. CBA.
Ooh, it's CBA.
Oh, my God, CBA. CBA. Wait, hold on. I got to look at my calendar.
11 DP spots.
CBA.
I'm going to predict 11 DP spots.
1, 2, 3. So we have approximately 20 days till the CBA expires. So exciting.
Yeah, but nothing's going to happen on that day. Like, you shouldn't be having one of those chains, like, because they're going to all still go to practice on the old CBA.
I don't care. I have a ball drop.
So wait, when does it?
January 31st.
January,
yeah. That's what I thought.
31st.
That's what I thought. But then I was talking with Kyle McCarthy a couple weeks ago. He said something different. So it's kind of strange.
When Kyle McCarthy said he's much smarter than me.
Yeah, I think he said it was.
He has a tendency not to just make stuff up to sound good.
He basically said the same thing. He said that it is going to expire, and they'll just keep operating under the auspices of the old one until the new one's ratified.
Actually, truth be told, this is a really unknown fact. This is actually the same CBA from 1996. They just keep playing under it. No, that's clearly BS. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that was a nice try.
Yeah.
So, CBA. What do you want out of your CBA?
Ices in every stadium. Ices.
Oh,
they're better than Slurpees. Trust me. You want to.
Oh Lord.
Alexi Lalas. Yeah, that's what I want.
Ready? If I get nothing else out of my CBA, nothing else, I don't care. I want to end bona fide offers.
Player rights.
Really? You keep allocation, whatever. Keep everything exactly as it is. Get rid of bona fide offers. Just be done with them.
So
yes, that means the Revolution lose AJ Soares and Juan Agudelo, but I don't care.
They lose the rights to them. They're going to lose them anyway.
Exactly.
So what it is it's basically saying, I'm going to put my marker down here. I know you're not going to take it, but I'm putting my marker on you so that if you ever come back in this league, I get first crack at you. It is kind of it's a way of saying finders keepers or some childish stupid game that they used to say. It's like I got dibs. I call it shotgun on AJ Soares. It's basically so that's I agree it needs to go away, but at the same time that I think and forget the same time thing. I mean, if it were to go away, it would mean basically the end of the system here, and it would basically be allowing free agency in MLS, and that's something that's not going to happen.
No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't.
How would it not?
How would it not? All right. If you get rid of your bona fides.
Yeah.
The I hold on to your rights.
Yeah.
Because AJ Soares is going to Italy or Juan Agudelo wants to try his luck
expired.
overseas or whatever other reason you can't re-sign that player. You still have the allocation order for returning players. You have the allocation order for U.S. men's national team players. You have the re-entry draft. You have the waiver draft. So there's still absolutely no free agency. It's just saying, I'm not going to sign with your team. It's a step towards free agency, but it's not free agency. Not even close.
But yeah. Huh.
So I mean, the thing you're right on the whole draft thing. I think because the allocation order, etc. But bona fide offer and the player's rights would apply to So basically, the whole Michael Parker scenario. The whole Robbie Rogers trade. None of that stuff would have happened.
Well,
right? Which is good.
No, but I think that.
But that's basically giving a player returning back into this league. It's not coming through allocation order. Well, maybe he would come through allocation order then if he doesn't have the rights. So if Michael Parkhurst comes in, Parkhurst is a U.S. men's national team player. He's playing overseas. He's going to come back into the league. He's going to go through allocation order instead of being done through trade.
Right. So it's not free agency.
But did Columbus have to trade up to get his spot?
I don't remember, to be perfectly honest. No, didn't New England trade allocation money for Parkhurst?
You trade the players' rights, right?
Trade the players' rights.
Yeah.
So did he sign a deal with the league saying that I'm going to go to Columbus because the Revs are going to basically trade my rights to them?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to try to understand Abrams' thing. Okay, let's say AJ Soares says, I don't want... He's out of contract, but he wants to stay in MLS. He would just have more freedom to say, okay, I'm going into the
re-entry draft.
The problem is he could say no to every team until he gets the one he wants. Would that be okay?
No, because that wouldn't happen, because that's not the way the system's set up.
No, but...
Yeah, but you still have an issue of a team picking up... So let's say he wants to go to California. He wants to go to the LA Galaxy, but the team ahead of him is Philadelphia. So if Philadelphia picks him up, Philadelphia would then have his rights. So you still have the issue of player rights.
That's what you're saying.
So the problem is that your system...
He wouldn't go through re-entry draft. And the re-entry draft would be bogus at that stage.
The problem is that the parity would go away. Parity would go away.
Forget Parity's ridiculous.
But it's so close to parity.
So, yeah.
Why have parity? Why have parity and a salary cap? Why? One or the other.
Well, look,
salary would just dominate.
Salary cap enforces parity.
Salary cap, yeah, which means you don't. All right, you don't allow these players to go. All right, I understand. I'm going to go with Benny Feilhaber. There's no chance that in a wide open market, Benny Feilhaber would have ever signed with the New England Revolution.
It's true.
Wouldn't have happened. There's no way. He would have forced his way to probably, Chiefs on him. He would have found a way to LA eventually, or maybe not LA, but whatever. But in a salary cap system, if he wanted to go to LA, they'd have to go no, because we're way over the cap and we're going to be hit with 100 different things if you sign with us. So why have these forced things where you can, I don't know, whatever.
But the thing is that teams would some players would obviously take a big pay cut to go play in LA because the weather's nice and because they're contenders. I'm just using this. No, there's no information about AJ Soares. We're talking about. But he might want to go to play in LA, so he might take a significant pay cut to go there as opposed to continuing to play in New England Revolution. Obviously, that wouldn't be necessarily smart for him because he wants to make money because he wants to, suffer only so long, but
I think that's the other thing that we sometimes forget is the idea, as you're sort of alluding to, this is a job. It's a job that only lasts for so long. So you want as much money as you possibly can now, which is why players are so quick to say, I'm going to test my luck overseas, even though I've had no interest from anyone overseas ever. I don't think a player in a big salary cut or taking a low salary in MLS is a lot different than taking a big pay cut or a salary decrease in the NBA or the NHL or the NFL or Premier League or Bundesliga or wherever. Taking that salary cut in MLS is, moving from upper middle class to middle class.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference. And taking a big, I mean, New England's expensive as it is. I believe he was living in the Boston area, so that's, one of the 3 or 4 most expensive places to live in the country. You're going to move to L.A., which is one of the few places more expensive on a salary comp?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, would you be okay with keeping players' rights, but raising the amount that a bona fide offer is? Because it seems like the bona fide offer. Because I remember when Juan Agudelo left, he laughed at the idea that his offer was.
Yeah, Juan Agudelo wanted too much money.
Yeah, but
Juan Agudelo wanted to be a DP.
Yeah.
Which we were all willing to do because we were like, we love him. It's not my money.
Make him a young DP. Why not? I mean,
yeah.
It's about the DP money that he wanted. He got like $1 million to sign a pre-contract. Why wouldn't he take that?
Yeah.
Anyway, craziness. My daughter wants to know how to sign into Netflix. Well, what are you watching, little girl? Anyway, if I'm AJ Soares and I'm getting a good deal from Italy, I'm going.
Yeah.
I don't care about the bona fide offer. He was going to get a good deal. I mean, these guys aren't making chump change anymore, right? I mean, He was a first-round draft pick, so a bona fide offer for him is going to be somewhere around $200,000.
I'd imagine.
Right? I mean,
I'd imagine.
Jake's watching. Jake, look up AJ's salary and for this year and tweet it to us, will you? Thanks. But I mean, I'm thinking that a bona fide offer for him would have to be a certain percentage plus the a certain percentage premium on top of the base that he was just making.
I would agree with you in a sense, but I don't know. I look at someone like Brek Shea, and he puts on a smile and says I learned a lot over there in Stoke City, and I wouldn't trade it for the world, but this different players obviously. You're looking at AJ Soares, a guy who's not on the national team radar at all, and you look at Brek Shea, who was Brek Shea could have been at the World Cup if Brek Shea was playing. Brek Shea could have very well ended up on that 23-man roster, so he missed potentially a World Cup because he decided to go over there as opposed to playing it.
But he also went over there thinking he was going to be a star, or if not a star, at least a bit role player.
Playing, right?
But
he didn't even play.
No, but he didn't go over there knowing that he wasn't going to play. He went over there thinking I'm good enough. I may not play every day, but I'll be on the 8 team, and I'll be training day out, and eventually I'm going to be a superstar, and I'm going to do for Stoke what Dempsey did for Fulham, and everything's going to be awesome. He didn't know that. He thought. Now, I think sort of what you were saying, Seth, along the idea that AJ isn't on the national team radar at all. I think a move like this is because, well, one, it's the money, and two, I think it's on the national team radar. I was talking with, I don't know, it was probably you, Hank, after MLS Cup. I think AJ Soares is a better overall defender than Omar Gonzalez. I think he's a different type of defender. I don't think he's as good as Beasler, but I think he's better than Omar Gonzalez, and I think a league like Italy suits his style. And I think an American player who plays center back, where we've been struggling recently, who goes to Italy, maybe doesn't play every game, maybe is 18 on the 18 most weeks, maybe once in a while doesn't make the roster, makes a few whatever their version of the FA Cup appearances are. Klinsmann looks at that and he's like, all right, the message I've been selling is challenge yourself overseas. This kid's a central defender. He's better than Omar. He's challenging himself over the seas. Let's give him let's give him a chance in a January camp. Or probably not January because of the transfer happening now, but let's give him a chance in February. Let's call him up for the Gold Cup and see what he can do. I think it's a smarter move for him.
I don't think he's called up for the Gold Cup. I could see him.
No, I don't think he does either.
I could see him, even just the cachet of I'm going to Italy. I don't know when the Italy season is or anything like that. But I could see even the cachet of that earning him a call-up to even the January camp. It's all MLS, so maybe, I don't know, crazier things have happened.
Yep.
And I think that's what it comes down to. He's doing what Klinsmann told him to do, which is challenge yourself. And, Klinsmann may not even know who this guy is, but he's challenging himself overseas in a tough league. And he's playing a position where we are right now weak.
Yeah. Well, they got 159K guaranteed for AJ Soares on his contract. So basically, it's a premium bet that. So it's close to 200,000. You got to figure that any move to Italy is going to be, well, it's Verona, right? Hellas Verona, which is Hellas is the Greek word for Greece. So if it's a Greek Italian team, I'm not sure how much what they're going to be paying him in drachmas. Or euros, but it's either way, it's a sketchy economy over there. We don't know. AJ, you better off, man.
What about
better off staying here?
Well, yeah, I'm kind of thinking about that.
AJ, you are watching.
I'm thinking of Tim Ream. Tim Ream was Player of the Year at Bolton, or Defender Player of the Year, or something.
Player of the Year.
Oh, Alexi Lalas.
Or he might have been the
Lalas wants to know why is AJ better than Omar.
Huh?
Alexi Lalas wants to know why is AJ better than Omar.
This is again always coming from my own personal opinion. Both of them have the same ability to ball watch, or not ability, but the same situation where they are ball watching, where they sit there and they ball watch, and Omar's got this great recovery speed on him. Now, I don't think AJ does it enough. I think he's better with the ball at his feet. I think he plays the ball. Basically what it comes down to is he's a better passer. I think he reads the game a little bit better. I think Omar is, and I don't know how this will sound, but he's a much more physical defender, and he's much better recovering. But I think AJ is much better, as I think he feels to me, he seems to me, watching him game in, game out, watching a lot of Omar as well, that he reads the game better, that he's a better passer, that he's better marking the players, and that well, I was going to say he's better on attacking on set pieces, but that's not true. I think Omar and him are relatively equal when it comes to that.
AJ got a lot better this year. This year was a breakout year for AJ. I mean, he split time last year. And he was probably the better defender with him and Jose Gonçalves. His passing got better, because before this year I would totally disagree with you with his passing. Like half the time he was hoofing it up the field, but he got better this year with a lot of those qualities. I don't know. I think it's good for him to challenge himself and to take it to the next level and see what happens.
Well, and I think what it comes down to when I'm looking at, and I'm going back to the thing with him and Omar, is the way I view Omar is he is a very physical player, and I can't stress that enough, which is why when he was going to the Bundesliga, I was like, well, this will be good for him because it's, a better league, it's a better technical league. And I really think that the reputation that Serie A has as being a technical player like AJ Soares there, training game in, game out, is going to help the strong aspects of his game even more. And I think that's something that Klinsmann's looking for, is someone who can play the ball out of the back. He stresses that over and over again. Defenders need to play the ball out of the back. They need to play it with their feet. Omar, I still don't see him as being able to do that. I think AJ's strength outweigh Omar's strengths, if that makes sense.
I think AJ tracks the ball sometimes a little bit better too. Like there's a lot of times this year where I felt like the ball got behind the defense and AJ made that last ditch play to prevent the shot or something like that. So he kind of cleaned up messes. It's also hard to tell too because the Revolution played that high line so often that the defense got beat over the top so many times. So I don't know. What would be super interesting to watch now to track is that you have two different developments, and maybe you can't even compare these in a year from now, but since we're all comparing them now, you have Omar Gonzalez, who signed a DP contract to stay in MLS when he had options to go to other places, and then you have AJ Soares, who decided to go elsewhere. Again, we might never be able to compare these later on. Maybe we never even talk about AJ Soares in the national team again, but it'd be interesting if that actually played a role in the future.
I think it would be interesting to see. So what happened when let's go back. All right, Alexi's coming back here. Not sure I agree that AJ is better than Omar, but agree with you that AJ is better suited for Italy than Omar. So there you go. So what happened with Omar in Germany, right? He went over for a trial and got injured. And
then Timmy Chandler destroyed his career.
Yeah, and he's never going back, right? Because he's MLS for life now? Is there a chance that Omar gets another crack overseas?
I think that he should. I think it's good. I don't know.
What about AJ De La Garza?
I like AJ De La Garza.
What about him? Does he get a shot overseas?
I
think he's a better defender. I think he's a better defender than Omar, to be honest.
They work really well together. Wherever they go together.
Yes, Jake, clearly Alexi Lalas is bored if he's watching the Pickup Soccer Show. So,
what were we talking? What the hell were we talking about? I don't even remember now. Oh, AJ. All right, I think Omar should get another chance to go overseas. I don't know if he wants to. I don't even know that he necessarily, quote unquote, needs to. I don't think it's going to hurt him to go overseas. I think it'll make Jurgen Klinsmann happy because, at this point, that's all anyone's trying to do is make Jurgen Klinsmann happy. But
can you ever make
where did he go? I think yeah. Can you ever make Jurgen?
Wait, what do you give a man that has everything? A trip to Europe. A defender in Europe.
Why not? Why not? Well, we didn't talk about the other thing that's going on. The big cheese, the big deal, the big wheel. That other big signing supposedly happening of that guy who plays for John Henry's team in England, who's now going to be coming to maybe play for LA. How do you replace Landon Donovan? You sign a 34-year-old guy who misses a ball at point-blank range and falls on his butt and makes one of the best gifts of all time. That's how you do it.
How do you guys feel about that?
Does Steve Gerrard have a future in MLS, or is this just one of those things?
Well, he obviously has a future in MLS. What kind of future is it?
True.
Is he going to come?
I don't think there's a question. I think
it's a done deal now.
I bet he ends up in Manchester City. don't ask me how. Don't ask me how. I don't know how the rules work.
That would be so classic.
I'm pretty sure all European players now have to make a quick stop at Man City, and if they like you, they keep you.
I think we lost Alexi. We're down
New
to CBA. We're down to 3 viewers now.
All right. But what do we? I don't know. What do you expect out of him?
The AJ Soares, Omar Gonzalez was our target market.
Well,
what a weird conversation to like.
Now we're down to 2 viewers.
Rats, quickly.
Start talking about Stevie Gerrard. We're down to 2 viewers. Uh-oh.
No one cares about it.
We're going to talk more CBA and more AJ Soares right after this break. We're back up to 3. Here we go.
I knew it worked.
More CBA, more AJ Soares all the time. 24/7.
No, I think Gerrard's fine. I don't know how he works. Rats.
He's a British midfielder.
He's a player.
He'll be fine. He's whatever.
I think
I'm going to be curious to see how they play though. What's LA's style going to be going into next year? Are they going to play exactly the same that they've played this year, where it's sort of on the ground more? Or are they going to go back to the? I don't know enough, and this is honestly, I don't watch enough EPL. I don't watch enough Premier League to really know what Steven Gerrard does. So
yeah, Steven Gerrard is kind of that old style box-to-box midfielder. He cleans up a lot of messes. He's got a good free kick. He's talented. He's smarted. He's talented and smart. Is what I meant to say. He's basically an above-average soccer player who's had a great career playing that role. And for a high-profile team, the thing is he's 34 years old, and is MLS a retirement league? And that's I keep coming back to this, and I am 100% fine with guys who want to come over here and get a shot at playing or whatever, but I'm getting a little annoyed with players that want to come over for the big payday and capitalize on their name. I get it. It's a smart thing for them to do. It makes perfect sense for them to do financially, but it's starting to annoy me a little bit. And I want to see him come over here. I want to see him get schooled. I want to see, I want to see Andrew Farrell run him over.
But more than that, I want to see him just embrace it and love it and be a poster for the league. Because I don't care if you're old or young. If you can play and you can be here, then be here. Like Jermaine Jones, like there's no question that he is an older player, but he loves it here.
He's a couple years younger than Gerard, at least, and but you look at guys like, Beckham came over here, and Beckham learned the hard way. Thierry Henry learned the hard way. But Thierry Henry's first years in MLS were not good, and he slowly won over the fans. I think across, he got a lot of help from MLS in that regard. They painted a nice picture of him, but there was those slapping incidents, the spitting incidents, the knees in the back, etc. It's just a lot of that kind of got glossed over. Rafa Marquez came in and made everybody look good. But I think when somebody like Gerard comes in, he's got to realize that a lot of these players here are going to be out to get him, and they're going to out to make him look bad. I'm willing to let him have a shot here, in LA or whatever. But I'm not sold that. I don't want MLS to have that reputation of being a retirement league.
I mean, but you bring up Steven Gerrard. He's almost exactly a year younger than older than Jermaine Jones. So we're not talking about.
So Gerrard is 34. He's going to be 35 in May. How old is Jones? 32.
Jermaine Jones is
just
33.
He just
33,
turned 33.
He'll be 34. Okay, yeah, so he's a little more than a year.
Yeah, but the guy parties like a 21-year-old. Have you seen his pictures?
Yeah.
Shirtless on me.
But he also plays like a 21-year-old.
True.
He leaves it all out on the field. I don't know if Gerard's going to come over here and he's going to be like, what the hell did I do? What did I get myself into? It's not like he has any connections to the USA at all.
God, what is his name? I've been blanking on his name, and it's killing me. What was the Seattle designated player?
Lundberg?
Thank you. Freddie Lundberg.
Ljungberg. Right?
I've been trying to think of his name for a few days. That's who this whole thing... Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Is it someone who potentially could do a lot of things and raise a profile, but potentially it could also explode in the team's face. Now, I think Gerrard is more of a professional than Ljungberg. So I think one way or another, I don't think there's a way that it could really go worse. Well, there's always a way that it could go worse than Ljungberg, because Ljungberg is, kind of underrated as a DP. I don't know. I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a huge problem with it. And the retirement league stuff, I don't care. Every single person. Sorry, go ahead. I think every single person who. Yeah, we're on a delay. So.
I hope that what happens is that this is the big signing after Landon Donovan, because you have to do something, because you know that whoever they're going to sign next, they'd be like, he's the Landon Donovan. So they make this signing, but this is not their Landon Donovan signing. They sign like a young guy who will be given some time to develop into a Landon Donovan. Like, it'd be cool if it was, I don't know, Luis Gil or something like that. Like a player where you're going to give him the keys and kind of get at it. But the problem is you don't want to do that because it'd be way too much pressure to put on a player. So I would like it if they say, here's Steve Gerrard, and then they silently make another player that's going to be more effective overall or more important in the long run, and that's kind of the Landon Donovan replacement.
And I think that you kind of brought out what I was going to say, which is obviously, the people who I hang out with, the people I talk to about soccer, it's the whole idea of, Lampard, Gerrard, retirement league. And that's who they focus on, because that's who the media outside of America sells. But that's also who the American media sells, are these big name former European superstars. But the fact is, it's not really a retirement league if you watch it. It's turning into more of a developmental feeder league at this point. It's not quite the Netherlands or even Belgium at this point, but that's where I see it going. Now, they want to compete with England and Spain and whatever by what year did he say we're going to be one of the top 10 by 2020? I don't remember the year.
Was it 2022?
He gave for it.
Did he also say he's going to put the man on the moon or something like that too?
I don't remember, but the point is, I don't care if you see it as a retirement league. I don't care. I don't want you to watch it if you don't want to watch it. It's your call. You want to call it a retirement league? Call it a retirement league. You want to say it's crappy football? Say it's crappy football. It doesn't it doesn't affect me at the end of the day. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a while, and in 20 years, when it maybe is one of the top, forget about the top 4, when it's one of the top 10 leagues in the world, which it may already be, people are still going to say, oh, well, they signed so-and-so at age 35, so it's a retirement league. But meanwhile, Frank Lampard is over in Manchester doing relatively well, and no one's saying that the Prem is a retirement league.
And MLS has not signed Ronaldinho. That would stamp retirement.
Not yet.
Not yet. Sorry. But you know what, it needs to be a mix. That's what the important thing is. You have to have the mix of the young and the old players. The young players learn from the old players. That's the way it goes, and they benefit greatly from it. So I honestly like the fact that it's a young, exciting league, and you can kind of pick out players and say, like, this guy is maybe going to go to Europe one day. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he stays in MLS. But I like the fact that it's a young kind of developmental league.
And it brings us kind of circle around to what league is better for these players, right? Is it better to go to Europe and sit on a bench, not start, or to stay in MLS to get the Breck Shea phenomenon? Then you've got the guys going front that have been raised in Europe, raised in European soccer, maybe thinking about coming to MLS, a la Mix Diskerud. And Mix is over there. He's maybe has a contract with that Norwegian team has been playing for, Rosenborg. Is that right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's got a contract there. Maybe he's got a team in Mexico interested in him. Whatever. But the fact is, it's still Norway, right? It's Norwegian soccer. It's not the best soccer in the world, and you got these guys out there saying, "Stay in Europe, stay in Europe, stay in Europe." Is Norway Europe? Really? Is it?
And
I think is it kind of like Europe's hat?
I think that's where the problem lies. Is being in Europe doesn't automatically equal being
good
in Europe.
Soccer. It doesn't mean good soccer. You could be in third division England, and people say stay in Europe.
I'm playing in the 8th division in the Ukraine. I'm in Europe.
But it does equal DP contract upon coming back.
Yeah, it does.
It totally does, because it's all about the Benjamins or the Ukrainians.
Well, it is. It is at the end of the day. It is about money. And I've always said, if you can get paid more elsewhere, go elsewhere. But if you, I don't know. I know where I stand on it. I know I don't care.
I think you get paid in Mentos in Norway, or that's Sweden. One of those.
I think Mix Diskerud got paid in poetry lessons. Have you seen his tweets?
Oh my God, I wanted to talk about the tweet because I actually took a picture of it because I never wanted to forget this tweet. It is so beautiful.
He's probably going to delete it.
Yeah, it's probably already deleted. I don't know if it is yet, but it was a thing of beauty. Let's read it out. Read it right here. Who's got enough loose balls to criticize either MLS or themes with more than one theme? I'm not sure. By any New York's Frankie boy.
Minus. Do you think it's actually a minus?
Before having seen the contracts.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm trying to figure out what he's trying to say.
Mike McGee's response is the best.
Mike McGee's response was
way off the crack, bro. Thanks. Yes, we all agree. Up to 6 viewers now. And Liz
got that lawless bump.
Got the lawless bump. And Lexi was down there when we were down to 2 viewers. He said he was one of them. So thank you, Alexi, for sticking with us. Our crowdsourcing interns have come back with there's nothing in the Italian media about our friend AJ Soares having signed for Hellas Verona, by the way. So thank you, La Diabolina on Twitter.
He's going. It's
so much easier to crowdsource your interns than actually hire them.
I did crowdsourcing for karaoke. And,
how does that work?
Well, I just wrote on Twitter. I said karaoke suggestions, and
okay. I thought you were gonna have people sing the song for you.
No, and one of my responses was from an MLS referee.
So, really?
Yeah, he told me to sing. Told me to sing Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way. So that was the genius of MLS soccer Twitter community.
You got any skills in that area, Seth?
No, I ended up doing Sweet Caroline because everyone just yells. So
there you go.
Yeah.
That's probably better for all of us.
Sorry, I'm just focusing on this Mix Diskerud tweet, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to figure out, and I don't know where he was going with it.
Like,
But,
is he defending?
Is he defending Frank?
Who is he defending? Is he defending Frank? Is he defending Frank Lampard? Or is he defending MLS? Is he defending the people criticizing them?
I'm not sure. Who's got enough loose balls?
Or
Either MLS.
He would have. I think he would have been in MLS by now, if
he had loose balls. Is that what you're trying to say?
if the price was right, he would have been in MLS by now. So it's sort of like he's asking, hey, who's got enough balls to do this? Who's got enough balls to criticize MLS, even though you haven't seen the contract? But it could be the other way. I don't know.
But here's the problem, and it goes back to the CBA and stuff like that. I wrote an article about this a long time ago. What's the value of an MLS player? It's so hard to come up with the value of an MLS player. Like, I guess most people would assume that Mix Diskerud is a DP, but why isn't Benny Feilhaber a DP? Because he came back at the wrong time. That's basically the answer. But like, it doesn't. The rhyme or reason about what's valuable in MLS is crazy. It's all relative.
Well, it's, if you, and that's, I don't know. If you look at it from the perspective of what's happening now, is if you have, what was my saying? I don't know, Brek Shea's not a DP, so thank God for that, but Maurice Adu is.
But I think Brek Shea's being paid down.
Oh, I think he is too. I don't think he's coming back.
If he was being paid down, he would still have the. If he was being paid down, he'd still have the DP status, right? I mean, that was the whole thing.
No, because Twellman didn't, and nor did Joseph.
We didn't have DPs. We didn't have DPs then. Well, Joseph Joseph was a DP.
He took a pay cut to become a DP.
And the rest have had players over the threshold
than they made the year before, I believe.
They did pay down his salary the year before with allocation money, so they wouldn't give him the DP tag. Then they did give him the DP tag, so they didn't have to pay him down.
Something like that.
That's what.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's like what makes Mix Diskerud a DP and Sasha Kljestan not, or Benny Feilhaber,
or Liam Widgewell versus Liam Widgewell's a DP versus Michael Parkhurst or whoever. AJ Source. AJ Source.
I don't know. That's what it comes down to. It's a lack of transparency, and that's, sort of the go-to phrase about MLS is lack of transparency. Spell this out for me. Why do you believe that, Olaf Melberg was not worth a DP contract, but I don't know.
He totally was. I don't get it. DPs. I don't get it. I mean, maybe he was just asking too much money for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's timing. It's all about timing.
No, I think it is too. Mix Diskerud is a hot upcoming prospect who could possibly be, a central figure by 2018. And Benny Feilhaber is not. And Sasha Kljestan is not. And Brek Shea may or may not be. So, I don't know.
Where do you think Sasha Kljestan ends up? Is he going to stay in Europe? Is he going to stay at Anderlecht? I mean, they said he's available.
Well,
I think
it comes down to the idea of. Sorry, it comes down to the idea of what you said before is how do they value him? What's the value for Sasha Kljestan in MLS? I would imagine he'd like to come back to MLS, but I would assume he's a California guy. He wants to go to LA, or maybe he wants to go to LA2 if that exists. Maybe he waits till 2017 and he joins LA2 as their first DP. So by that point, I'm trying to think of how old he'll be. He might, he's for whatever reason. This is another one of those players who is, and I apologize for whoever tweeted this out. I don't remember who it was, who tweeted out the list of American players. It was Jurgen, tweeted out the list of American players that were playing champion football. And the only player on there was Sasha Kljestan, who is not featured for the U.S. men's national team on a regular basis pretty much at all. So you've got all this talk about how important Champions League is, and
it's the highest level.
Apparently it's not. So
still,
does the fact that
he's playing a player?
Does it come? I don't know. I don't know. I think Sasha Kljestan would be a more valuable player than Mix Diskerud, to be perfectly honest with you.
I can't believe you almost didn't give Jurgen Klinsmann credit for that subtweet. He's gonna be really upset. He wants credit. He deserves. He subtweeted so hard. He deserves credit.
He's about to retweet that tweet as a subtweet to me for forgetting that he tweeted it.
I think you think Kljestan's more valuable. You think Kljestan's more valuable than Mix Diskerud?
As a player, yes. As a sellable commodity, no.
So
and I
so
think
far,
that there's. I think those two are so. I think those two are. That it comes down to age and it comes down to who's going to be on the national team. So I think that's why you could eventually see Mix getting a DP contract, and Sasha probably never will.
So let's just get this straight. Your team right now, we're forming a team, and your first two picks are AJ Soares, Sasha Question, and I go Omar, and I go Mystic Screwed. We're going to go 2-on-2 against each other. We'll play some street ball. We'll put the pug goals
I also
up.
take Tally Hall over Donovan Ricketts, even injured Tally Hall.
Even injured. Like I'm thinking, who's the goalkeeper from Sporting KC? White Puma. Remember him? Like I was imagining, yeah.
Jimmy Nielsen.
Jimmy Nielsen just walked. Remember that? That was a great MLS Cup final. He could barely even move. He was like just reading off it.
He pulls out the paper from his sock. I love that.
Ooh. All right. Here, we got one here. This is from and I apologize, Anan M24. Do you guys see the Galaxy paying down Omar Gonzalez to open up a DP spot?
Well, the CBA is going to open up 9 more.
Oh yeah, I think that at least. Well, what did Twellman say? Twellman said there won't be 3. Scoop Twellman.
What if there's 2, and everyone has to fire one of their DPs?
I can't imagine that.
No, yeah, I don't. But wouldn't that be kind of fun to see?
Raise the salary cap and keep the same number of DPs.
I would prefer. I said before. I would prefer getting rid of the DP tag altogether and just raising the salary cap drastically.
Oh, like by a few million.
Call the guy. I apologize. It may have been you, Hank, that I was talking back and forth with on Twitter about this. It may have been Seth. May be someone who I don't even remember. I think that the D. It may have been Jurgen. Me and Jurgen, me and JK. I think that the DP tag is such a negative thing right now. It may have been Ronaldo. Yeah, my buddy Eric. But I think that there's a different view between calling someone in any other sport a max contract player than it is when you call someone in MLS a DP. There's a much bigger, and I think a lot of that has to do with just how much more they're getting paid. But why not call that person, this is our max contract player. This is the top paid player on this team, as compared to saying he's a designated player and putting that extra onus on him. Because someone like Jerry Benson was not really a DP, even though he was a DP. And there's other players like that who become a DP due to transfer fee, or become a DP due to, well, generally it is a transfer fee. So why not drop that tag, up the salary cap, and let the teams, you have to fill a roster with whatever, 23, and the minimum salary is, what is it now, 45, 32, 26, $12 an hour. But I don't know. To fill your roster, you want to fill a competitive roster, sure, you can pay 11 guys really high, but what about the next 6 after that?
And to go along with what you were saying is that there's a difference between the Beckham DP and the Mario Diaz DP. Mixed Disco is not a Beckham DP, but he could be a Mario Diaz DP. Or Borneo Garcia DP, a guy that just maybe sells some jerseys, but more than anything gets results.
Yeah, it gets.
And I think that's the direction we're heading. I think that's what you were. One of you was.
And get value out of these players, right? I mean, the DP has a certain status to it as well, right? So I mean, that's what it comes down to, is that the DP's got a status symbol attached to it. So when you assign a DP, whereas the Revolution, their first attempts at DPs were about players that they thought could add value, but were of such a high cost that they used the DP tag to buy them down and get outside the salary cap structure. And it turns out that most of those players, were busts. You got Benson, you got Caraglio. Was Pepe Moreno DP?
No, he was not.
No, he was not. All right, but
Shawry
was a guy who was getting towards the end of his career. They wanted to keep him here, and so they made him the DP. That was basically, and he was the leading. He was the high goal scorer, best player on the team the year before. I mean, it was smart to keep him here, especially in a transition year with a new coach coming in and new presidency and new ownership. Well, not new ownership, but new front office. That was a smart move, because if you get rid of Shawry Joseph, that right then and there, after all those changes, you have basically all your fandom walking out the door. right? Shawry was the contingency factor there.
We were even ready to burn that place to the ground when they traded him mid-year.
Pretty much. Then he comes back and he has like 2 goals against you in his first game back.
Yep.
That was awesome. Pure Shawry Joseph. But I mean, there's another guy that could have gone overseas and ended up getting stuck around by that whole bona fide offer thing and whatever, or just not getting the price tag wasn't good enough.
Anyone think that Shawry ends up in NASL next year?
Cosmos.
They just signed Adam Moffat.
So they got Adam Moffat. They won't get Shawry now. Yeah. Damn it. They'll play for the Brooklyn Italians instead. Still a team, I think. Still a team.
Yeah, they're playing
in NPSL. They got a sweet logo too.
Nice. I like the Brooklyn Italians. It looks like Espinosa's coming back. Just saw a tweet come back out of Rob Heineman saying that hopefully this will brighten your day. It's a picture of a Sporting KC jersey with Espinosa's name on the back of it. So a little, you gotta love it when the front office guys tweet out a little bit.
I'm confused as to how he's going to get back to Sporting Kansas City. Because they sold
Kansas City.
Sell him?
I think they held on to his rights.
I thought they sold him.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I have to look back. You guys might be right. Maybe not. Maybe I'm mixing him and Kamara.
Let's ask the interns if they can tell us how.
Espinosa sold.
Was Espinosa sold?
Siri.
Or did he leave on a bona fide? I think he left it on a free. Was offered a bona fide.
Maybe.
He's a suitor. Classic lines. I love it. He's bona fide. I think Espinosa coming back is a sign that EPL is just losing its kind of sheen. It's turning into like another top league of the top 4, top 5 teams.
Well,
and that's it.
I'm sorry, wait. You realize she's in the championship, right?
Who?
Espinosa.
Wigan?
Yeah, Wigan.
Wigan got sent down?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. That would do it.
Also, he did get a bona fide.
Well, did he?
He had a bona fide.
I don't even know who's in the EPL anymore because there's 5 teams. There's 5 teams in the EPL, right?
Yeah.
There's Chelsea, there's Man City, there's Man United, there's Liverpool, and there's Arsenal. Sometimes there's Tottenham. Tottenham, I guess, is doing all right. Swansea's still up. Okay, that's good.
Everton.
Southampton, I heard, is doing well. Everton is up there. Newcastle's still up there. How many is that? 9? That's about all I know, really.
Right. So we got another one from Anon, whose name I'm sure I'm butchering, who's asking about our buddy, even though we talked about him a little bit. I am kind of curious about this. So Freddie Adu, Freddie, is he done at this point?
I don't think he's done. I think he's going to come back and haunt us for the rest of our days. I mean, we put that kid up on a pedestal. He is coming back to haunt us. He's going to end up playing, I think, in Orlando.
No.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No MLS.
He's not coming back to MLS for less than a DP contract, and I think after the disaster in Philadelphia, there's no chance he gets a DP contract.
Peter Novak's starting a team. Peter Novak's starting a team, and he's looking for players.
He just wants lawsuits. He's starting a new. He's not starting a new team. He's starting a new lawsuit. No, I think I don't know. If I'm Freddie Adu, I just go and play in NASL, right?
I don't think so.
Right? I think he's looking for big bucks.
You know what? No. Here's what I do. I go to the lowest depth. I go play like pub. I do the Jay Demerit story.
Oh, nice.
Started from the bottom, now I'm here, and I just get gritty.
So he plays for Brooklyn Italians.
Yeah, he plays for Brooklyn Italians. Scores a goal in against Cal FC, and he gets picked up by Eric Winalda and LAFC.
Yes.
Yes, it's this story. Like if I had to reinvent myself from the very beginning, because like everything else, you're just kind of it's either too above you or you think it's too. I don't know. I think that's the best thing to do.
He should have never left, ever left, and I'm sure I'll butcher the name. I believe he was at Rizespor. Was that him, or am I mixing him and Josie? I know one of them was second division Greek football. He should have never left the second division of Greece. That's
Really?
the best professional football, soccer, whatever you want to put it, of his career was when he was in the second division of Greece. He was so good. He was a hero there. I believe he was. Was that?
I thought he was with Aris.
Yeah, with Eddie Johnson.
Right? Hold on.
Interns.
Wikipedia. But he.
Jake's killing it tonight, by the way.
Yeah, thank you, Jake, for hanging in there. Up to 5 viewers again, back up to 5. We were up at 7 at one point.
Wow.
We had Aboon from Live Breathe Football checked us out from it. I'm not sure if he's still on.
He was at Aris, but the game I'm talking about, the season I'm talking about was right before he came back to Philadelphia when he got called up for the Gold Cup in 2011. He was playing for Rizespor. 11 games, 3 assists. I'm sure 3 goals. I'm sorry. I'm sure a few assists. He was vital for that team. That team almost got promotion to, I think, what is Greek, the Superliga? I don't really know.
I don't know.
But that was the best I remember watching him play consistently. Let me rephrase that. The best consistent football I ever saw, or rather, let's be perfectly honest, the most consistent football I ever read, because you know who's watching the Greek second division, about Freddie Adu playing. Now, he had spurts of really good play for the Union. He had, 2 really good games in the Gold Cup, and he was great during the with the U23s during Olympic qualifying. But he's just, I don't think and I hate being that guy. I don't think he's done, and he is. Let's look at his age. He's 25. He's finally now at this point older than I thought he was.
He's not 20. He's not 23.
Every time I talk about Freddie Adu and I look at his age, I'm like, oh, well, he's younger than I thought he was. So now I'm looking at him and I'm saying, 25, and I'm like, oh my God, he's older than I thought he was. I didn't think that moment would ever come.
I think he goes to Stuybeck with Bob Bradley.
I would love that. I don't think it would happen, but I would love
Toronto.
that.
He's going to end up at Toronto FC, guaranteed.
Yeah, after Defoe goes over to Leicester City.
Yep. Why not?
Or QPR.
Why not?
Or whoever else. Ugh.
It's going to be over there. One of them. Well, I did want to. If Aboon is still watching from Live Breathe Football, Aboon, you need to make us T-shirts for this show. I think that would be nice. It'd be a great gesture, and then we'll wear them on the show for you, and we'll get all of our 5 viewers. We'll say, "What a fabulous T-shirt!" and they'll all go buy them. That's how it works, Aboon. Free marketing, free advertising.
Anyway,
it sounds like we're getting to the end of this show.
Is that about it?
Yeah, we've been going for like 2 hours.
It's not bad, not a bad run. So it's a good 90-minute workout. Thank Abram for stepping up and doing 2 shows today. Check out Abram's. You got the link? You want to tweet that out?
Yeah, I'll tweet it out from the first 11 or from.
Yeah, first 11 went live today. That's the first.
Oh my God, that was I don't know how disastrous it'll sound with no editing, but we'll find out. You guys can see how the sausage is made, and it is not pretty.
There you go. All right.
I watched parts of it. It was delightful.
Nice. I love it. Seth,
what are you gonna do at the gym?
Yeah, I know, right?
What
exactly.
are you gonna do at the gym?
I have new podcasts now. I have like 50 podcasts now.
Oh,
yeah, I always try to find. What do you gotta tell me when you get off who you're listening to, because I try to find new ones and I always give up after like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
I'm going back and listening to Serial, just because that's the trendy thing to do, right? So hey, I want to thank Alexi Lalas for watching. Thank you. Come back. We'll try and keep it interesting. Try to keep it fresh. Just all that good stuff. And thanks everybody for chipping in on Twitter. Liz. We see you out there, Chris Reed, Anand, Chris Ballard and Brian Bentley, a couple of old characters from Twitter. Jake, obviously, thanks for helping out.
Jake.
You're the man, pal. We will kill it here, right? And we'll talk to you guys soon. Stop the broadcast.